Stay tuned for this important tip.
From our garden to yours. Do you know how to read and interpret the information on a food label? It can be a little confusing. Today, I have Deborah Freeman, one of our nutrition program assistants here, to teach me all about reading a food label. Welcome, Deborah.
Thank you, Celeste. It's good to be here.
I see you brought lunch.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Or snacks, for sure. Deborah, it is confusing about food labels, isn't it?
Yes, it is. There is so much information on a food label. The government requires the manufacturers to put this information on there, and that's why it is. Their job is to sell their product, but our job as a consumer is to know what it is that we're buying and to be able to read those labels and interpret them.
And sadly, sometimes they sort of trick you on food labels.
Right.
To make you buy it, to encourage you to purchase.
Well, they just don't tell you everything that you might want to know up front. And some of the things that they don't want you to know might be hidden or in small print, or that you have to really read the label to find out.
So let's talk about bread, for instance. And I see you brought 3 different kinds of bread.
Yes, yes.
And what's the difference between these 3 breads?
Well, today, most of us are aware of, or a lot of us, I should say, are aware of my pyramid and the requirements by the USDA, or the recommendations for eating healthy. And one of the things that they suggest is that we eat half of the grains that we eat are whole grains. And it could be wheat, rye, oats, but not an enriched form as we've been eating all these years. And so as this information is becoming more known, the manufacturers are trying to beef up their products, their lower end products, so that we think that we're getting something that we may not be getting. Okay, for example, we have, if you want to have whole wheat bread, and we know that whole wheat is typically brown. Okay, so then you go to the store, you're price conscious, you look for the bread, and you see a loaf that says wheat bread, and it's brown in color. You think you're getting a whole wheat product. But actually, if you read the label and the ingredients, you'll see that the basic ingredients and that whole wheat bread, that wheat bread, is the very same, are the very same ingredients as in the white bread. They've added molasses to make it a little browner. Okay, but if you are looking for a whole wheat product, you want to make sure that the label says 100% whole wheat, whole grain on it. It will say that very clearly, because that's something that they are proud of.
And that's what we want to look for.
Yes.
And that's I've made that same mistake myself.
Yes.
Looking at breads in the store, and when you get home, they're really not that much different.
Right.
Well, let's talk about snack foods, because everybody likes to snack. What about chips? Is there a difference in potato chips?
Well,
What can we find out on the label?
Yes, and this is a good thing. Okay, we have 2 different kinds of chips. One is fried and one is baked. And we also know from the U.S. Department of Agriculture's recommendations that we should eat less fried foods. Okay, but chips are a very popular snack item. So what Lay's has come up with is a baked chip, which is a good thing, okay? But you have to read the label to know that the difference is really big. The fried chips, the baked chips have only 1/6 the amount of calories as the fried chips. So if you're watching your calories from fat, baked chips is the way to go. Unfortunately, potato chips themselves are sometimes occasional food, not something that you want to eat every day. And even though the baked chips are not fried and don't have that fat content that you have to worry about, you still don't want to make it an everyday food, unfortunately.
And really, this is a serving size of the baked chips.
Yes, yes.
And so really, I mean, I've eaten half a bag at a sitting, and just thinking that they're better for me, so I can do that, which...
Well, one thing, and people do that, and I myself tend to think that way as well, but just because it's 1/6 the amount of calories, that doesn't mean that you can eat 6 times the servings and still equal the size of the baked chips. The other numbers do not match out, do not require do not make it turn it into a healthier food.
Well, Deborah, we're already out of time. We didn't even get to talk about salad dressings, which is
next
going to be a
time.
whole nother segment.
Yes.
But thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, you're welcome, Celeste. Thank you for having me.
It's amazing how much information is on a food label. I know that I will be a better consumer now that I know what to look for.